Millions of leftover women are facing poverty. They said that, guys, we don't want you. Guys, we don't need you. We'd rather the beer. And yet now they don't want to go live with Yogi and Boo Boo in the woods. Today's video comes from the China Unvarnished channel. Their channel will be linked in the description of the video so that you can go check them out and support them. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of millions of leftover women now facing poverty. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble. You never really know what can happen on this platform, so go and follow us over there. It's linked in the description of the video. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video after a message from Angry's Crypto Academy.
以为找个有钱的女朋友可以少奋斗20年，现在天塌了。新婚姻法解释2月1号开始正式执行。女朋友再有钱也是她的了，跟我没关系。唉，全网的男人都在笑啊，就我一个人在角落里面偷偷的哭泣。兄弟们。
民法典婚姻家事编司法解释2马上就要施行了。
Brothers, everyone pay attention. Starting from February 1st, the Judicial Interpretation 2 of the Marriage and Family chapter of the Civil Code has officially been implemented. This judicial interpretation consists of 21 articles, and many of the changes in these articles have truly caught those gold diggers off guard, especially the one about adding a spouse's name to the property title after marriage, which has undergone a huge transformation. You see, in the past, if the name of a spouse was added to the property title, many people would think that this meant half of the house was freely given to the other party as a gift. But now, this operation of adding a name to the property title has become completely different. The property that belonged to one person before marriage, even after adding the spouse's name, still belongs to the original owner. What's even more surprising is that in the past, if the parents paid for the house for their child and the names of both spouses were on the property title, the general public would think that the house was a gift from the parents to the couple. But now the situation has changed. The new rule clearly states that if the parents pay for the house will belong to the side of the parent who paid. In other words, the property belongs to whoever paid for it. There will now be more explicit legal protection for this, and understanding this will make you realize that this new regulation tends to protect the party with stronger economic ability, in other words, the side with more financial resources. For women, this means that marriage is no longer an insurance box. In the past, many women thought that after marriage, if their name was added to the property title, it was a kind of security from their husband. But now, if a woman does not have economic ability when it comes to divorce, there's not much she can take with her. In fact, she might end up with nothing. For men, the impact of this change is even bigger. Although it may seem like the threshold for marriage has lowered, in reality, women will not only look at your personal qualities but will also care more about how much money and assets you can provide for them. Especially in future marriages, just showing the property title and your bank account balance won't be enough to impress a woman. In future marriages, a woman's expectations will not only be for the house and car, but she may even directly ask the man to give her cash. Whether women will continue to agree with the traditional marriage model of man buys house, woman buys car, might become a question worth thinking about.
我真的生气了哈，姐妹们，我要提醒一下你们。
I'm really angry right now. Sisters, I really have to remind you all. The new marriage law for 2025 is out, and we can't keep sacrificing ourselves for that little family anymore. Stop just staying at home, raising the kids, and doing all the chores every day. Oh my God, you're stuck at home like a maid, cleaning floors, wiping surfaces, and you don't even have the time to wash your face or put on makeup. You're working so hard, but the man still thinks you haven't contributed anything. This is just ridiculous. Today, a lot of men left comments on my post. Reading those disgusting comments from men really made me mad. I really don't want to discuss it with them anymore. Some men don't even come and leave comments for me. Let me read some of these comments to you. It all started when I said men should buy a house for the girl. As a result, a lot of men left sarcastic comments. Some said, then you women should buy your own house, why wait for the man to buy it for you? Others said, most women just want to freeload a house from men. Some even said, these women don't want to buy a house for themselves, they just like it when men buy it for them, that's what makes them feel comfortable. There was even someone who said, in the past, women could get a share of the property during a divorce, so women who don't have a house now have to buy one themselves. And one man said, Why didn't your dad give you his house when you got married? Now, no one's property is so easy to divide. One man said, only what you work hard for is truly reliable. For this comment, I gave it a like because I agree. And there was even a woman who commented, a house is only valuable when it's your own. Women shouldn't make excuses for their desires. When I saw that this was a comment from a woman, I honestly felt a little heartbroken. Please, don't misinterpret me. What I meant to say is, without a house, a woman feels like she has no home. I am not saying you should just depend on a man. What I want to express is that women should have economic independence in marriage, not give up on their goals to rely on men. The reason I made this comment is that during this Chinese New Year holiday, many people went back home. You know what? Some girls who married far away or have bad relationships with their families, when they go back home, they are completely ignored. They feel like outsiders, treated like flies, constantly being chased around. It feels like they're going through a trial. The new year, which should be a time for warmth and reunion, becomes a frustrating and depressing time for them. This is why I said, men should buy a house for the girl. I didn't expect so many men to leave comments. And especially, this woman left a comment saying, don't make excuses for your desires. I really want to ask, is having desires really a bad thing? Desires aren't inherently bad. The key is to fulfill them yourself, not rely on others. I want to emphasize that girls aren't looking to depend on men, but to achieve independence through their own efforts. To the sister who left that comment, do you really understand what I'm trying to say? Now that the new marriage law has been enacted, it's time for us to rely on ourselves. If women are still stuck at home doing all the housework, who will appreciate you? I ask you, who will appreciate you? To summarize, these comments made me realize one thing. Most men, at least 95% of them, think women ask for a house from men just to take their property. They think women want to get something for nothing, to take their wealth. But I want to ask in return, where did 98% of the men get their houses from? Isn't it mostly from their parents' support before marriage? How can you be so self-righteous when your house was bought with your parents' money? You say women always ask for a dowry, at least 80,000 yuan. Does that small amount really break you? Look, there are luxury cars all over the streets.
Does that small amount really break you? So that's about, it's about between $7,000 and $10,000. So you can round it up to about 10K. So a woman will say that you need to pay $10,000 just to marry her. Just to marry her, y'all. Okay? This is how ridiculous it absolutely is. You know? This is how ridiculous modern relationships absolutely are. And to be clear, it's actually $10,978. So I'm wrong. It's almost $11,000. 80,000 yuan is almost $11,000. So you have to pay almost $11,000 to marry the most average of women. A lot of women are asking for 100,000 or even $1 million. But the most basic women today are asking for $10,000 just to marry her. And her name needs to be on the property so that she can get half of the property in the case of a divorce. Why would you get into a relationship with that like that? So she's telling you $10,000 is nothing for my hand in marriage. I have to pay you to marry you. I have to give you half of my property. And her comeback is, it's not even a lot of money. It's not even a lot of money. And a lot of you got your properties from your parents anyway. So if you're being blessed by your parents, it's not like you paid for it anyway. It's not like it's even really yours. So of course she's just making up that number. Not everyone is getting a house from their parents. But even if they were, that doesn't mean that a woman is entitled to half of whatever you inherit or whatever you receive from your family. This is their mindset right now. And then they're like, this is why, ladies, we need to go out and get our own money. So they're like, well, we still need a man to marry us. We still need men to be with us and provide for us. But these men should expect even less in the relationship now. If they don't want to put our name on the property, so if they're not going to give us, or if the property, if Chinese law has now changed so that even if our name goes on there, we still will not get ownership of it, then we need to focus on, getting our bag outside of the marriage. Why is a man going to get married to a woman who brings no utility into the marriage? If she is not cooking, cleaning, and offering domestic services within the marriage, if she is not taking on the feminine role in the marriage, why is she there? Their mental state is that their presence is enough because they were raised to believe that their presence was enough. This is why we now have 100 million leftover women in China who cannot find husbands. Despite the fact that there is a gender imbalance in China where there are more men than women because of the one child policy, there are over 30% more women looking for men than there are men looking for women. And the reason why is because so many women are left over right now. They are not married, they have not had children. Men have chosen to avoid them entirely. This, guys, throughout human history, only around 30 to 40% of all men ever reproduced, while 80% of women reproduced. What this tells us is that multiple women were reproducing with the same man, and the average man, it was not that he did not have the means to have a family or have children, because the average man with a wife was poor. No, 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 no. It was because the average man did not want to have a relationship, did not want to get married, did not want children. This means that a lot of men completely abstained from physical intimacy over the course of human history because we have not had, we've not had contraceptives for most of human history. Think about this very carefully. They've existed, but in various forms and not like what we have today. So throughout a large portion of human history, a lot of men were completely abstaining from physical intimacy because they shunned off the very notion of reproducing or having to, provide for a wife and subsidize a family. We're heading into hard times, and modern women are still making these complaints and these demands. Hard times are here. They're not coming. They are here. The ATMs are going to stop working. The banks are going to chain the doors. The only way you're going to be able to protect yourself is with crypto. And at Angry's Crypto Academy, we actually teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in crypto. And we'll tell you exactly what coins will mint you millionaires and how to spot potential coins to invest in. So don't miss out on this opportunity. The Academy is linked in the description of the video. You have to be focused right now because this is, guys, it is hell on earth, especially with all of these tariffs, especially with everything that's coming out with USAID. All of this government money is going to be gone. All of the guys, you're going to see women in a state of desperation like society has never witnessed, because there's not going to be any more handouts. All of these charities are going to lose their statuses. All of these nonprofits are going to lose their statuses. It's going to be insane. Tyrone Tent City is coming to a community near you. It's not, and it's going to be, guys, I told you, society is going to look at women. Global society is going to look at women in Western society in the United States and ask, how did American women, how did women in Canada, how did women in Australia end up in these extraordinary states of poverty and destitution, not even seen in countries that have high rates of poverty in Latin America or Australia or Asian countries like the Philippines? You're going to have women in the Philippines looking at American women and asking, how are these women living in conditions in America in greater poverty than women in the Philippines, than women in certain Latin America countries, than women in certain African countries, and then women in certain European countries? They're not going to comprehend how these women are living in such extreme poverty in the wealthiest country in the world. And the answer is because of what they did to men. And now they are no longer being subsidized by the state. They are no longer being subsidized by the Sims. The Simp economy is moving overseas. They are screwed. The women are not designed to live without a husband. And even when all of this is happening, there will be a lot of you guys saying that, I refuse to believe it. I refuse to accept that someone will come and bail them out. And it's because a lot of men have that perspective, why it's only going to make it worse, and then on top of that, even if men didn't believe that, a lot of men would still say something like, well, I don't care. Because what's going to end up happening is women, as things continuously get worse, you're going to see, for women, you're going to eventually see women saying, men help. The next time there's a big crisis, they're going to say, men help, and men are going to whisper no. And how did this occur? It's simple. Women did this to themselves. Women made this choice for themselves. They chose to reject men. They chose M2. They chose to go scorched earth. And now they are going to face the consequences for those decisions.
And you can't even afford this small dowry money. What are you men even worth? What confidence do you have to say these things to women?
You're not even able to. A luxury car is nothing. You're not able to afford the small dowry money. You're not. You can't even afford to give us $10,000 or $11,000 for our hand in marriage, and to give us half of the property value. This is the reason why I tell you that women are planning their divorce before they plan their wedding. They're planning their exit from the relationship before they even enter.
可能结婚的就会更少了。
The number of people who might get married in the future will likely continue to decrease, and the reason behind this is quite simple: the implementation of the new marriage law, which essentially clarifies the ownership of assets. In simple terms, who owns what money, who owns what house, and who owns what property from their parents. Even today, some women still ask whether having their partner transfer the title of a house or car to their name before marriage would help them avoid issues with property division. In fact, this approach is also ineffective. The court determines property ownership based on the bank transaction records, meaning whoever paid for the house or car owns it, and transferring the title will not change this fact.
She never loved you. She only likes things that you can do for her. She may like certain things about you. She likes what you have, but she may even like the way you look, but she will never love you for who you are. It was always about the Benjamins. It was always about what have you done for her, and not just what have you done for her, but what have you done for her lately. Notice all of these plots that women use to extract wealth and resources from men. Like we are fools. We didn't win the lottery. We were just the ones chosen to subsidize her living. We are just the fools. We're just the bandejos that got caught. All right?
The essence of marriage, to some extent, is actually an exchange of interests between the man and the woman. It may sound exaggerated, but in many cases, it is indeed driven by considerations of wealth, social status, and so on. The new marriage law makes the division of property before and after marriage so clear that some women are now reconsidering whether to get married at all. After all, the motives for marriage are multifaceted. Some might say it's for love, but in reality, for many, it's more about material interests. And now that the new marriage law has closed off the financial aspect, some people might feel that it's more trouble-free to not get married at all. If this trend truly takes off, the marriage rate might decrease, and the divorce rate could drop as well. Marriage has never been purely for love. It is a complex consideration involving economics, safety, social recognition, and even biological instincts. You can ask your friends or relatives around you whether many people get married purely for love, or whether they have weighed multiple factors before making the decision.
婚姻法保护婚前财产，不分男女，大家都是公平的。
One of the biggest highlights of the new marriage law is the clear protection of premarital property, which no longer differentiates between men and women. Both men and women now have equal rights to their property, and no one can easily acquire the other party's assets through marriage. Many people might find this difficult to understand, and the introduction of this new law has sparked a lot of debate. After I expressed my support for the new marriage law, some people became emotionally agitated and sent me some unspeakably harsh and offensive words. I won't list the specific content here, but it was truly shocking. I boldly guess that some people are so angry because they believe the introduction of the new marriage law means she or he will lose the opportunity to obtain the other party's premarital property through marriage. In fact, those who think the new marriage law is unfair are either harboring bad intentions or are selfish. Here, I want to clarify that I am not promoting inequality between men and women, nor do I intend to create gender conflict. My viewpoint is based on the principle of private property, where both men and women should enjoy equal rights. From now on, property belongs to the individual, while the uterus and children are jointly owned by both spouses. This means that in the past, some people might have tried to marry to achieve the goal of marrying well means making a lot of money. But this route has now been legally closed. If a name is added to a house after marriage, it does not automatically count as marital property. Even if the house is a gift from parents, it only belongs to their own child, not to both spouses as joint property. Regarding the division of property, the new law also provides more protection for the economically stronger party, whether male or female. From a certain perspective, this is fair. After the implementation of the new marriage law, those who once tried to gain benefits from marriage, especially the gold diggers and phoenix men, no longer have any opportunities. The law has clearly stated that no one can hope to quickly get rich through marriage, and no one can marry, quickly divorce.
The Phoenix Man. Jesus help us. Well, guys, did you hear that term, Phoenix Man? What the hell is this? Phoenix men? What the hell is even that? So I guess the term Phoenix men refers to a stereotype in China about men who grew up in rural areas, worked extremely hard to achieve success in the city, and then returned to their hometowns to enjoy the fruits of their labor. These men are often seen as self-made successes who have risen from humble beginnings, much like a phoenix rising from the ashes. So basically, men who work hard and achieve something, and then you have gold diggers who want to take advantage of said individuals. That's so interesting. Phoenix men, y'all. That is so funny.
And then claim a portion of the assets. This change, to some extent, reflects the law's support for fairness. However, from a different angle, from the perspective of women, those who have truly spent a lot of time and energy caring for the family and raising children seem not to have received enough emotional compensation. The physical costs and damages women endure during childbirth are irreversible, such as stretch marks, postpartum incontinence, and other issues, things that no money can compensate for. Not to mention that women usually bear more of the household chores and childcare responsibility.
So, guys, women no longer want to be women. They no longer want to take on the roles as women. They view giving birth as a laborious event. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Motherhood is an act of labor, emotional labor, having to take care of your children, your husband, provide emotional support. It's an act of labor. Guys, that is a person who does not like their family. This is the same garbage they were going on in the UK, where women wanted to be paid for domestic labor. They wanted to be paid for emotional labor in the home. If you want to be paid for having to be in a relationship and have emotional, use how do I provide emotional support for your family? For guys, women want to be paid for being a part of a family. And as a result of this, they will now end up being shut out from the family unit. That's why I keep telling y'all to be focusing on don't be out here focusing on women. Don't be out here focusing on relationships. Focus on getting your money. Focus about learning about crypto, because extremely hard, painful times are coming, and women are going to be found in a terrible state of poverty and destitution. And the rest of the world is going to look on and ask, how did women end up in this condition? When the next crisis hits, women are going to say, men help, and men are just going to whisper, no. Let me ask you something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chained shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy, to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom. It's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional. It's critical. The link's in the description. Go check it out now.
So how should these contributions be fairly rewarded? Some might ask, does this mean women should abandon their plans to get married and have children? Of course not. What I want to say further is that although the new marriage law superficially lowers the threshold for men to get married, it actually raises the standard for marriage. Now, women no longer rely on a house or dowry to choose a marriage partner, so their standards for choosing a man have become more stringent. In the past, women would marry anyone, even if the man was not particularly suitable. Now, women know that they cannot rely on their partner for material support, so what do they seek in a man? It's simple. They are now looking for whether the man is good-looking, whether he is taller than 1.8 meters, and whether he has enough intelligence, humor, emotional value, and can provide emotional security and social resources. Even more importantly, does he have a good body? Does he have better genes to give their children a better future? For ordinary men, these standards are now higher than ever before. For those men without resources or clear personal value, the marriage threshold is certainly higher.
What's wonderful about this is that women are just eliminating themselves from the reproductive pool. They are completely putting themselves out of business, and they don't even realize it until they're now in their 40s and 50s. They don't have a lot of time left. A lot of Gen X women played around, they messed around, and now they're finding out because they're ending up old and alone. There's no one out there coming to rescue them. It's something that Gen X women absolutely know, but they did not really take, they took it for granted. Gen X women, compared to all other groups of women, know just how cold and miserable this world is, how evil this world is. And a lot of them participate in the evils. And now basically the roosters are coming home to crow, and they don't want to face the consequences for the decisions that they've made, because a lot of them messed around, and now they're going to find out just how miserable the world is when you do these things to men. And they're going to have to figure out how to survive, guys. There's a lot of fraud happening with Social Security right now. Massive amounts of fraud happening with Social Security. People think that, oh, someone's going to come and bail them out. No one's bailing them out. No one is bailing them out. When it comes to Social Security, no one is going to bail these women out. These women are going to find themselves between a rock and a hard place, thinking they're going to be able to rely on Social Security in 10 years, some of these 50-year-old women. All right? And guys, even before that, all of these charities, all of this free money that they've been getting through USAID and all of these other groups, USAID shouldn't have been doling out money domestically, and they were. But guys, Elon is auditing everything right now. USAID is only $50 billion of fraud. That's only $50 billion of fraud. All right, yearly. It's a lot of money over the course of a decade. That's $500 billion in fraud. But the reality is that there's much more to the story. When you start looking at the Department of Education, when you start looking at the Pentagon, when you start looking at all of these other departments and how they've been taking advantage of things, is going to be insane. Like once Elon starts auditing the Pentagon, and I'm sure he'll find maybe hundreds of billions of dollars in theft there. A lot of people are going to be court-martialed. Like military doesn't play around. You will be court-martialed and spend the rest of your life in military prison. They don't play. They really don't play with military court-martials. They love to put you in prison. All right, they love to put you in military prison. It's like it's prison. And it's like that's just how reality is. And a lot of these people are going to be going there. A lot of these people in Congress, even if they don't end up there themselves, some of them probably will. Their peons will end up there. The people who worked under them will end up there. Like they are going to be between a rock and a hard place. Millions of women right now are 100 million women over just in China alone are left over, and they don't know what to do. And there are no men who will marry them right now. In Japan, they call them something like I think it's like Christmas cake ladies or something like that. It's crazy, and guys, it's not going to get any better. We're going to see women fall into the deepest states of poverty, despair, and destitution in just the coming years. What do you guys think? Millions of leftover women are facing poverty, and men are not going to bail them out this time. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. guess you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.